I was wiping down the kitchen counter when my mom's voice sliced through the hallway like a rusty knife. "Are you deaf, Lila? I said move!" Before I could even turn, her hand cracked across my face so hard my vision went white for a second. I tasted metal. My twin kids, Leo and Lily, 6 years old, tiny, trembling, froze in the doorway. Leo reached for me with his small hand. "Mommy?" Mom swung again, harder this time. "You don't cry here," she snapped. "You work here." Her ring scraped my cheek, leaving a burning line. I stumbled back against the counter, biting my lip so I wouldn't scream, because screaming only made it worse. I had learned that since I was 11, but the tears came anyway, pain mixed with humiliation. My kids' terrified faces pushed them out faster. Mom's eyes narrowed. "Oh, look, she's leaking again." Please subscribe to our channel until you send comments from where are you watching this video. "Grandma, stop!" Lily cried, grabbing her arm. Mom yanked her little hand off. "Move, girl. She needs to learn." And then, in front of my children, she raised her fist and slammed it down on my arm. Once, twice, a third time. Each hit harder than the last, turning my skin purple in seconds. I felt something pop near my elbow. I gasped. Leo screamed. Lily sobbed. But Mom just stepped back, breathing fast, shaking her wrist like she'd hit a wall instead of her daughter. "Your tears," she hissed, pointing at the wet floor beneath me, "are the only cleaning you'll ever do." She said it like a punchline, like she was proud. I clutched my swollen arm, barely able to bend it. "Mom, please, the kids," she scoffed. "If you didn't want them to see this, you shouldn't have come back home after your pathetic husband left." "He didn't leave," I whispered. "He died." "And? What does that change?" She shrugged. "A useless man leaves you with useless kids." Leo cried harder. Mom clicked her tongue. "Make them stop. Their noise gives me a headache." Then she turned to my father, who stood by the fridge eating cold chicken like this was a movie. "Are you going to say anything?" I choked. Dad didn't look up. "Your mother's right. You're always dramatic. Broken arm, broken heart. Who knows with you?" "It's not broken," Mom barked. "She's just weak." I tried to straighten up, but the pain shot through my bones like electricity. I knelt on the floor, still holding my arm, and Mom looked down at me the way someone looks at garbage blocking their door. "Clean the floor. Your tears made a mess." I didn't move. Her voice dropped lower, colder. I said clean. When I didn't obey, she kicked the bucket of mop water toward me. It splashed across my legs, soaking my jeans, mixing with the drops from my face. "Pathetic girl," she muttered. Lily ran to me, hugging my waist. Leo followed, their tiny bodies shaking against mine. Mom rolled her eyes. "Get those pests away from her. They cling like lice." I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. My arm throbbed so violently I thought I would pass out. Dad finally sighed. "If you're going to cry, do it quietly." Mom stepped closer, lowered her face to mine, and whispered, "If you cry again, I'll give you something to really cry about." Then she walked away, humming as if she hadn't turned me into a trembling mess in front of my children. I stayed on the floor until the pain blurred into something numb. The room spun. My kids held me like I was the one who needed protecting. Leo whispered, "Mommy, we have to leave, please." But we had nowhere, no house, no savings, no family except the ones who treated us worse than strangers. As I sat there, dripping, broken, humiliated, something inside me shifted. A quiet snap, like a rope finally giving way. For the first time in my life, the fear felt different. It wasn't heavy, it was sharp. And beneath the pain, beneath the shame, something else was growing. Anger. Real anger. Not the kind you swallow, the kind you use. And I knew one thing. One clear thing. Even while shaking on that cold kitchen tile. This would be the last time I ever let my kids see me on my knees. The next morning, my arm had swollen so badly I could barely move my fingers. Purple, black, angry red. It looked like something dying under my skin. I wrapped it in a dish towel because Mom refused to take me to a clinic. "You'll survive," she muttered while frying eggs for my sister Ava. "People like you usually do, cockroaches and disappointments." Ava, perfect, pampered, 30 and jobless, sat at the table scrolling her phone. She looked at me like I was interrupting her breakfast with my breathing. "Mom," she said, "tell her not to limp around the table. I can't eat when misery is walking near me." Mom tapped the spatula on the counter. "You heard your sister. Move." I stepped back with Leo and Lily behind me. They clung to my shirt, whispering, "Mommy, let's go. Please, let's run." Mom slammed the pan down. "Go where? To the street? To a trash can? That's where people like you belong." Ava smirked. "She should be grateful she even has a roof." I swallowed hard. "I'm not ungrateful, I just need—" Mom cut me off. "You need nothing. You take resources. You take space. You take attention." Then she flicked her gaze toward my kids. "And they take even more." My jaw clenched. I felt heat creep up my neck, but I kept my mouth shut, because arguing only got me hit. Dad walked into the kitchen, scratching his stomach. He sniffed the air. "What died in here?" he grumbled. Mom jabbed her finger toward me. "The useless one. She's dripping neediness again?" Ava laughed. "Maybe she thinks crying will make her pretty." Dad plopped into a chair. "Not possible." My kids buried their faces into my side. I squeezed them gently with my good arm. Mom scraped eggs onto Ava's plate. "Golden girl gets fed first, always." Ava didn't even look up. "As it should be." Then Mom turned to me, lifting the pan slightly. "You want some?" For a stupid second, hope flickered in my chest. Then she dumped the rest of the eggs straight into the trash. "There. Now your expectations match reality." Ava clapped. Dad chuckled. My kids stared with wide, horrified eyes. Leo whispered, "Grandma, why are you so mean to Mommy?" Mom's head snapped toward him. "Because your mother is a burden." Lily stepped forward. "No, she's not." Mom leaned down until her face was inches from my daughter's. "Yes, she is." She straightened up and pointed at the stairs. "Take your brats to the room downstairs. I don't want their noise in my morning." Our room. The one with mold on the ceiling, a broken window latch, and no heat. They forced us down there like we were the basement rats. As I walked toward the stairs, Ava called out, "Don't forget to clean the floors later. Mom hates seeing your tears dry on the tiles." Mom laughed. "True, they leave stains." I didn't look back, but I felt something growing behind my ribs, the kind of pressure that could crack concrete. Downstairs, the room smelled like cold dust. I shut the door, sat on the mattress, and finally let the kids curl into my lap. "Mommy," Leo whispered, "why doesn't Grandma love you?" I nearly choked. How do you explain generational cruelty to a 6-year-old? How do you tell them that some people enjoy breaking others? I kissed their heads. "It's not your fault. It's not mine either." Lily touched my arm gently. "Mommy, can you move it?" I tried. Pain shot up like lightning, forcing a gasp out of me. I shook my head. "We need a doctor," she said. I smiled weakly. "We can't go right now." But in my mind, a different answer echoed, "Not yet," because an idea had begun forming as clearly as a spark in darkness. Upstairs, footsteps thudded, voices, laughter, the sound of expensive shopping bags rustling. Ava must have convinced Mom to take her out. "Mom, can we go to the mall? My favorite perfume is on sale." Mom, "Anything for you, baby." Dad, "Should I come?" Mom, "You?" "No, stay home and make sure she doesn't break anything." And then the front door shut. It felt like the house exhaled. Dad's heavy footsteps moved toward the basement stairs. He opened the door and yelled down, "Hey, you done crying? I need you to go clean the garage." "With one arm?" I asked quietly. He rolled his eyes hard. "Then use your legs. Figure it out." Leo stepped in front of me, arms spread wide. "Stop bullying my mom!" Dad blinked at him, surprised for a moment. Then his face twisted into that familiar disgust. "So the uselessness is hereditary," he muttered. Something inside me snapped so sharply I could almost hear it. I stood up, pain, trembling, but I stood. "Dad," I said, my voice steady, "I'm not cleaning anything today." He laughed, actually laughed. "You think you get to decide that?" "Yes," I said. "I do." He stepped down one stair. "Say that again." I met his eyes. "I do." His hands curled into fists. "Do you want me to drag you by your hair?" "I can." Leo grabbed my leg, shaking. Lily hid behind me, and in that moment, watching my children shield me from a man who treated me like trash, something crystallized in me. I wasn't staying another night. Not in this house, not with these people, not under their rules, their fists, their cruelty. Dad stepped onto the second stair. "Think you're brave now? Think you're somebody?" I stepped back, pulling my kids with me, and said clearly, "You'll never lay a hand on me or my kids again." He stopped, because the tone in my voice was different, unfamiliar, dangerous. He stared at me, eyes narrowing. "You planning something, girl?" I didn't answer. He smirked. "Good, I like watching your plans fail." But for the first time in years, he was wrong, because what I planned wasn't small, and it wasn't slow. It would be the kind of revenge they couldn't slap away, laugh at, or bury under insults. It would hit harder than every blow they ever gave me, and it would begin sooner than they imagined. Dad kept pacing outside the basement like a predator waiting for the chance to pounce. But I wasn't scared anymore. Fear had burned out of me last night. I packed quietly. Not clothes, not memories, documents, IDs, birth certificates, the little cash I'd saved from doing night janitor shifts. I shoved everything into a backpack and helped Leo and Lily put on their shoes. My arm throbbed like fire, but I moved through it. Pain was familiar. Survival wasn't. When Dad finally stomped downstairs again, expecting me frozen and obedient, he found the three of us standing, backpacks on, shoes on, ready. He blinked, confused. "Where do you think you're going?" "Out," I said, "and not coming back." He laughed, too loudly, too aggressively, like he needed the sound to replace the control he suddenly didn't have. "You can't leave," he barked. "This is my house. You follow my rules." "Your rules almost killed me," I said calmly. "And my kids." Leo stepped forward. "And you're mean." Dad glared at him. "Shut up, boy." I moved between them. "Touch him and you'll regret it." He sneered. "Oh? You gonna hit back with that dead arm?" I stared him down without blinking. "No, but someone else will." Right on cue, a knock thundered on the front door. Dad froze. I walked past him with my kids and opened it. Officer Ramirez, the one who patrolled our block and had seen my bruises before, stood there with a clipboard. He looked at my swollen arm, then at my kids, clinging to me. "I got your message," he said quietly. "Let's handle this." Dad stormed halfway up the stairs. "You called the police on your own family?" "No," I said. "I called for protection from my abusers." Ramirez stepped inside. "Sir, I need you to stay where you are." Dad spat. "This is ridiculous. She's lying." But the officer had already seen enough. He'd been suspicious for months. The neighbors had whispered concerns. Teachers had reported Lily's nightmares. And now my arm, the size of a melon and covered in deep purple, said everything. A second patrol car pulled up. Mom and Ava returned from their shopping trip just in time to see two officers walk into the house. Ava dropped her bags. "What's going on?" Mom snapped. "What did she do now?" Officer Ramirez answered, "We received credible reports of physical abuse, negligence, and endangerment." Mom laughed. "On who? On her? Please, she bruises if the wind blows." I stepped aside so they could see my arm fully. The laughter died instantly. Ava's face drained of color. Mom's mouth fell open like she'd seen a ghost. Wait, Mom stuttered. "We didn't, she makes herself look bad." I spoke calmly, the type of calm that terrifies people who rely on chaos and control. "You hit me in front of my children. You shoved me, mocked me, locked us downstairs, and last night you beat me until I couldn't lift my arm." Ava blurted. "That's exaggerating." Officer Ramirez cut her off. "Ma'am, step back." Mom tried to rush toward me, desperation breaking through her arrogance. "You can't take the kids. They're my grandkids." "Yes," I said, "and you traumatized them." Dad roared. "You're destroying this family." I held my children's hands. "No," I said. "I'm protecting mine." The officers guided us outside while Mom screamed my name and Dad kicked a chair across the living room. Ava cried, insisting she had nothing to do with it, though everyone knew she cheered them on every step of the way. Ramirez opened the back door of the car. "You're safe now," he said gently. I buckled Leo and Lily in, then slid beside them. As the door shut, I looked out the window. Mom was crying, real tears, not for me, but for the loss of control. Dad was shouting threats he could no longer back up. Ava was hugging herself, shaking, realizing that the world outside this house wouldn't worship her like her parents did. And for the first time ever, I felt warm. Not because someone gave it to me, but because I took it for myself. As we drove away, Leo whispered, "Mommy, are we really free?" I squeezed their hands. "Yes," I said, "and they're finally facing consequences." I glanced back once more. They weren't chasing us. They weren't calling us back. They weren't laughing anymore. They were left standing in the doorway of their own. Collapsing kingdom, the one they built out of cruelty, cracked by the truth and shattered by the one thing they never expected. Me walking away with the only two people who mattered. Please subscribe to our channel and tell Lucin comments from where are you watching this video.